Should elected officials make a personal profit off of taxpayers? Well, tonight a viewer tip has us asking the Round Rock mayor about that.
6 months into his first term, we have uncovered evidence. Craig Morgan's company made more than $620,000 from city contracts since 2013. The mayor argues it's perfectly legal.
But KXAN investigator Jody Barr discovered the city's own law book suggests the mayor might have to step down.
It sounds sort of like the king sending out his men trying to collect taxes there.
Ken Tuck knew as soon as he saw it, this meant trouble.
They're going to move on the property here.
And threatening to sue you.
That's correct. It's a threat of lawsuit.
And not just any lawsuit, a foreclosure. The county, through its hired law firm, was warning Tuck, pay the $2,300 tax bill or the firm would take him to court to take his land. What do you know about that law firm?
I don't know anything about this law firm.
McCrary, Vazelka, Bragg & Allen specializes in debt collection, like Tuck's, primarily past due taxes and court fines for dozens of Texas cities and counties. That list includes Williamson County and the city of Round Rock. The man who oversees tax collections in those particular areas, Round Rock Mayor Craig Morgan.
Consider a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement for collection of delinquent municipal court fees.
In 2013, City Council voted to give the mayor's law firm a contract to collect past due court fines. Morgan stayed out of the vote.
You're abstaining, right?
Yes, as I mentioned Tuesday morning, I've already filled out the paperwork, and so I'll stay the reason on Tuesday morning.
That paperwork the mayor mentioned, a conflict of interest form, shows he holds a substantial interest in MVBA, meaning he makes his living from the law firm.
Item G8, consider a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a tax collection agreement with Williamson County.
Councilmember Morgan.
Abstain.
In 2014, MVBA won a second contract to collect those Round Rock taxes. In 2015, the city gave Morgan's law firm a third contract to collect library fines. But something we found in the city's law book shows it might not matter whether he abstained or filed paperwork. A city law says no member of city council shall have a financial interest in any city contract. An ethics watchdog group tells us that means the mayor can't do what he's doing here.
Councilmember Morgan.
Abstain.
Carol Birch works with Texas Public Citizen, a group helping push ethics reform through the state capitol.
Even if the mayor isn't himself doing that legal work, he benefits because his law firm benefits.
This is from the city's own charter.
You know, I mean, I don't have my glasses clearly, but the one thing that I would say is that that's probably a city attorney question because they're aware of all the conflicts that are filed on the at the DICE. And so I think that's more probably a question for the legal. I don't have enough information on it to answer that question. Like I said earlier, I understand the perception of it, but again, there's processes in place, and I followed those processes.
Morgan says he simply works at MVBA and that city law doesn't come into play. Here's why. One part of the law addresses someone who owns stock in a company. Morgan says he does not. But the law also says he cannot have a financial interest at all. Well, we know Morgan gets a paycheck from the firm and has directly raked in money for the firm, suing Round Rock taxpayers himself. So the bottom line, he may not own stock in the firm, but he does have a financial interest since he's an employee. Remember, he even acknowledged his substantial interest in that conflict of interest paperwork.
That's just a flat prohibition. You can't, you could disclose all day long, you can't do it.
There is a prohibition in Round Rock stating that you can't do what you're doing now as far as benefiting in any way from a city contract. You disagree with that?
Well, I'm going to have to look at it. Again, that's not what I was told. I feel like I followed the law and followed what was required of me.
And by reading this, I mean, it's obvious you could lose your seat over this.
If that's correct and other lawyers say it, then I'll have to look at it and decide.
They probably have no clue, just like myself. I had no idea.
After we raised questions, the city paid a private attorney to research this law. He was once a member of the State Ethics Commission. Now, he disagrees with the ethics expert in our story, telling us because the mayor does not own part of the firm, he is exempt from this law. But he does admit this about the law.
Ethical standards need to be clear. They shouldn't be fuzzy. They shouldn't be gray. They should be clear. And that way, if they're clear, everybody knows what rules we're all playing by. This could be clearer, and it should be clearer.
Also remember, the mayor told us he does not own any part of that law firm. But check this out. Before we started asking questions, his bio on the firm's website listed him as a partner. And shortly after we reached out, the word partner was gone. The mayor says that's because the firm updates the website from time to time, not because of our investigation. Now, at this point, what happens to the mayor is all up to city council. The rules say if 2/3 of them find a violation, the mayor could be removed from office.
And right now, we're awaiting a response on any plans to move forward.
And in the meantime, these contracts will continue, and the mayor's law firm stands to make a lot more money. If it collects on all outstanding tax bills today, it would earn $335,000 from city taxes. We have a detailed breakdown of the financial ins and outs and more from the players in this case right now in the investigative section of KXAN.com.